Peace and blessings, everyone. This is your guy. This is Rashawn, aka Looker. Welcome to the Space Invaders TV channel here. Today is Friday. It's September the 3rd, 2021. Peace and blessings to you all. We're gonna get right into it right now. Before I go into it, you guys see the headline. The topic of the story. First, I want to say peace and blessings be with the family of the young man at Mount Tabor High School in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Peace and blessings be with his family right now. I pray that the Most High surround him and wrap his arms around his mother, his siblings, and his entire family. I pray that the Most High pull them close. I pray that the Most High will welcome that young man with open arms. And I just, my blessings and go out to that family. And I was informed that it was another student as well that was injured as well. My peace and blessings go out to all the students and faculty and staff members of the high school, of Mount Tabor High School in Winston-Salem. Peace and blessings go out as well to the young man that was wounded in the shooting in Hanover High School down in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'm thankful and glad that the Most High shield you from that bullet. Peace and blessings be with those students and faculty and staff members. You come to school to learn. You come to school to have fun and enjoy your years in school and have great memories with friends that when you get my age, you will meet them again in passing and you can reminisce and laugh about those times. But this will be a time that it's not nothing to laugh about. I want to say peace be with the law enforcement from that came out and supported, that were there to support the agencies that came and that were there to support local law enforcement in Winston-Salem during that horrific event at Mount Tabor High School, securing the perimeter and everything, and making sure the students were safe. Thank you for carrying and taking your badge and honor and your job serious and being there and ready to protect and serve as you should. So thank you. I think that, although I'm not a resident of Wilmington, North Carolina as well, but thank you to the law enforcement that stepped up and that were there as well, the agencies that partake and that were there in support and getting the perimeter locked down there in Wilmington as well, around Hanover High School. My heart and prayers go out for both of those high schools and those students. Once again, peace and blessings be with the spirit of the young man that was killed in Mount Tabor High School, William Chavis Raynard Miller Jr. Yeah. But so we're gonna talk about that briefly. I'm gonna try not to harp on it too long, folks. But this is what I was talking about when I mean security. These schools, you need security. And another thing, yes, you don't want to take away. We know the students are shaken up. I know that you guys are shaken up. As faculty and staff members are shaken up and just in awe and disbelief. These shootings happened. Wilmington happened last week, first week of school. We're in the second week of school here, and you got shootings. And we must figure what is the mental state of these young children running around with these guns and thinking to come to school. What is the mental state? What is going on? These things are happening for a reason. And I'm not saying that it's any children, any students' fault that this is happening. Please don't get me wrong. But we have to think about what is the mental status of these young children. And I pray for the mental state of these young teens that done these crimes at both of these high schools. Because it needs to be spoken about. It's some worry there. We have young children running around and they're running around. I don't know what is going on today with these young children. They want to come to school and shoot up schools. I don't understand. And this has been going on in schools since the 90s when these school shootings started to become national. One of the main ones that was just, and all was when the Columbine shooting, trench coat mafia, they two students go into the school, shot up, and what was the young student's name? Let me look here. Am I right? Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. They killed 12 students and 2 teachers at Columbine High School, Colorado. That was in 1999. And we just have to wonder, like what is going on in the minds with these children. And it's really been almost if it's not every year, every other year around the country, it's been a school shooting. And we have to wonder, like, this is serious, this is deep. These children have real mental issues. I want to go here for a second. And remember if y'all look back at one of the previous videos about a month or 2 ago, and I talked about this book here, Why Metal Died. This young lady, this young teenager, her father wrote this book, Andrew Pollack, and he dove deep into the education system. And first and foremost, I want to say thanks to a newfound friend I had, Stephanie. She gave me this book here. She gave me this book here, and I'm an avid reader, and I really, got a lot of knowledge. How deep these things go, especially political. When it comes to the security of our children, the education of our children. And I encourage you all to, if you're interested, to pick this book up right here. Why Metal Die. Her father wrote this book, Andrew Pollack. He, after the death of his daughter and trying to figure out like what happened in a young man that committed the crime, that went to the school and shut up. He had mental issues. He had a history of mental health issues. He had a known history of it, and he wasn't supposed to even be in Parkland High School. That's where this took place at. He wasn't supposed to even be in that school. And this happened in February of 2018, February the 14th, 2018. So I encourage you all to pick this book up right here, and you'll get a good understanding of just not, I mean, from the security to the whole learning system of how, you know, they're playing this political game. And then that's why I'm so hard as well. You know, I was already on it, but then once I got this book, and once again, thank you, Stephanie, for this book here. Once I read this book, when Stephanie gave it to me, and I dived right into it. The day she gave it to me, later that evening, I start diving into it, and I almost couldn't put it down, you know, that first evening, because it was just so much. And my mouth was just like, you know what I mean? Because it was just so like, wow. So this is how we are using our children today. We just like they're using the children as pawns for their own political gain, and it's all about money. About, you know, it's like they're caring more about what they're spending on safety and education than giving the service that they're supposed to in the education system. That is education and security while they're there, while the students are there trying to learn. So I want to dive into some things here. You know, so we want to talk about, you know, the law enforcement. When I'm watching the news, so I knew the story, but you know, I wasn't gonna jump right into it the first days when I heard. I sat back and I tried to decipher and see if more information was going to come out. Like, why was the kid in Mount Tabor first? You know, because I heard about the Wilmington as well, and I'm gonna get on that. But the Mount Tabor kid, I was hearing things and of the kid running around like he was changing clothes, you know, and I'm like, man, this almost sounds like a video game. Like this kid, you know what I mean? Been playing too many video games. Like he just going to shoot up schools, then he going to change clothes and running around, and you know, it automatically my mind went into that, and I'm like, it's seriously something mental there. And my first thing was, you know, security reasons. Security, I mean, putting metal detectors in these schools. What is the problem with not doing that? And I listened to them with their press conference and giving law enforcement praise and all of that, the pats on the back and the governor coming down, the pat on the back. That's fine. That's great. But this also could have been prevented. That's where a lot of tears come from as well, too. When I watched, a lot of tears come from what could have been prevented. You know, put some type of preventative measures in place. When we talk about security, I mean, heck, you have security in airports. You have screeners, metal detectors in airports. You pay to fly, but you're getting frisked, and your whole your privacy is being invaded, and you pay to take a flight somewhere out of the country or on the other side of the country somewhere, and your privacy is being invaded for the safety of everyone. We have court systems. Why in every judicial system, courthouse in any major city across the country, they have screeners. You got to go through and get scanned, wand, everything. And let's be clear, that's not just for the people. That's really, in my eyes, that's just for protection of one person, and that's the judge. That all of that is just for the real safety of the judge. For somebody want to go cuckoo and try to run up in the courthouse and, you know what I mean, do some damage to the judge or something. I feel that's what that's really all about. It ain't all about the people frequent, you know, moving around the courthouse. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel, my personal feelings on that. Heck, you can go to Disneyland, Disney World, whatever the freak. If you ever been there, there is security. You're going to get your bags checked. You're going to get your body checked. And there's a wand check. If you ever been there, then you know that. So how the heck do we have security in all of these places? Government buildings, most government buildings, you're going to get screened. You know what I mean? So how can we have that in all of these places? How can we have government officials, they can walk around with security? But we have a hard time trying to figure out how to keep our children protected while they're in school. Innocent, learning. We have them out there just hanging them out to dry. They're just out there free. And you have children or people running around with mental issues that are able to just come up on these campuses, come up in the schools and do things. Now, I know some schools, some middle schools, some grammar schools, they have a buzzing system. I know maybe some high schools have that. But we're talking about when there's a student. So you're going to let the student in once you ID them, and the student comes in the morning, whatever, however, they come in. For the safety of the children, have metal detectors and use the wand. And make sure you have adequate security on staff and armed security. It's no more of this trying to, oh, we shouldn't have guns. I'm not saying teachers should have guns in the classroom. What I'm saying is pay the people to do pay those people for those jobs who are trained to do them. The people that are trained to do those jobs, hire them. A teacher, an educator is there to educate. You don't need the educator with guns on them. It's a security, put security in place. That's their job. That's what they do. Put them in place. Get the metal detectors. That's what they're there for. Why are we, then so we're having these issues, and now we have parents and children that can go on having mental issues from these type of situations, from bearing witness to these type of situations when they are not accustomed to this type of behavior at all, and now we causing other mental distress. Why? If mayors and governors and the presidents, everybody else can have security, why these children don't have? Why we can't secure our children while they're in school? Why we can't make sure we're doing all we can? Like all of this political stuff of sitting down and talking about, oh, we're going to brainstorm. What do you mean to brainstorm? You know what you need to do. We're adults here. Do the adult things. Put things in place. Stop acting like, stop the mind games. Do the things that's supposed to be done to protect these children. People are taking things for granted. People are running around, literally. You have perpetrators, and then you have others who are in position to make things happen. They're taking advantage, and they're just plainly taking advantage of people and the whole situation, and it's just being careless and reckless, man. Let's stop playing and put the children first. That's it. All of these things. And this is not even outside. These are not outside people just coming into the school shooting up. These issues, these shootings have been from children that go to these schools. So if there was metal detectors there and there was a heavy security presence at these schools, you have some of these high schools, these schools, period, they have, especially some of these high schools, they can have anywhere from 500 to maybe almost 2,000 students, depending on where you are in the country, and one high school. What, you don't think you need to be checking somebody? I mean, in all actuality, yeah, it's gonna be, you figure that amount of kids, somebody elevator is not going up to the top floor out of all those children. I'm just trying to be real, because we see what's been going on. We have to stop this thing. how much more sacrifice children lives has to be sacrificed for the sake of them just trying to come to school and learn. You know what you can have for those situations? Children can mess around and just drop out of school because they don't even want. You don't know what things certain situations can do to certain people mentally, what it can do to them. These things can have them not wanting to be around crowds anymore. They don't want to be around people anymore. There's a lot of things that can happen to a person's mind who sees something that traumatizes and stains the brain. There's so much that can happen. So why do we keep playing around with these children's safety and their education? I just don't understand. And so, we don't know what the suspects, and from Wilmington, from Hanover High School and Mount Tabor, we don't know what these young men, what their issue was, because they're both two teenage kids who done these things. They not even releasing their names, so what's going on? What is their structure? What is going on? I know people can say, oh, we don't care about that. They done a crime. That's fine, but we have to figure out, because you have to figure out what's going on to try to help certain situations. I don't know what the resource officers like. We have to step back and put people in position in these schools and let them do their job. Let them do what you hired them for. Give them the tools. These resource officers, let them do their job. Get more security and let them do their job. Don't mistreat the children. Do your job. There's no need to talk nasty or rude to children or mishandle them if all you there is to make sure the safety is going on and make sure nobody's bringing any weapons into the classroom. This is supposed to be a safe haven. These buildings are supposed to be safe havens where these kids can know that they can come to and it's safe and they can learn and they can enjoy their years in school. But why are we adults making this thing a whole nightmare for these children? And then you don't even know you could be creating more monsters from this, You could be creating more monsters from this, because you might have some kid, if he think that kid got away with it, he's gonna do it. And that's pretty much what's going on. They know there's no security. But if you had security and you had metal detectors and you're doing the wand as well, do you think really how many of these instances you think will really happen inside of the school? Now I can't tell you what might happen on the outside of the school, but coming in the inside of that school, I guarantee you that if you know that it's something, unless you have to be clearly off your rocker and really just trying it, if you know that there are security there at the school, you're not getting past them with any type of weapon on you, not a pocket knife, nothing. You're not gonna try it. They're gonna take their asses elsewhere, but they know they ain't gonna come in at school and try it. You don't want that to happen nowhere. But what I'm saying is they won't come in at school with it. They won't come inside that school with it, and they might, and you might not have them come around the school if you got your security tight enough. And it's just amazing because you see, it's like you don't even know like the history of some of these shit. Well, these children that's doing these crimes in these schools with these guns and shootings, have they been problematic children before this in the school system? You see, we go on and we try to dismiss these children that's committing these crimes, but it's clear that someone failed them as well. So that needs to be figured out moving forward, and parents too have to pay attention to their children. If you know you have a child that's just off the chain, you either get proper assistance for your child. And if you know your child has certain behavior, you need to make sure that you are getting the assistance for your child that you need. by all means, go all out and get the assistance, and so it can be documented and notated that, hey, my child has issues, I need help. Now, I know there's other things that, but I'm not going to get into it, but that's what I'm saying. Now, moving on, I want to present to you guys something here. This is the United States school shootings and firearm incidents from 1990 to the present. Okay? From 1990 to the present. We're gonna go over this, the different shootings around the country. How this has been going on since the early 90s. And we have yet, don't wait till the issue happen. It is like, okay, so now we got we have communities mourning today in North Carolina. And so it's like, so no one paid attention to all the shootings that was going on around the country. This further lets you know that you guys that don't care about security for these schools, when it comes, and I'm talking to the education system, this is not directed at law enforcement. Law enforcement, you do your job, and you guys are there to do your job on the streets and everything. This is not directed at you. This is directed at the education system. What I'm saying is not directed at law enforcement, I repeat. This is directed at the education system. So you seen all of these issues happening around the country, okay? We know when we talking about the education system, they love to deal with statistics on everything. The same way, I don't want to veer off topic, but I'm going to say something real quick. The same way right now they talking about statistics, and they're talking about the test scores for North Carolina versus Guilford County test scores. And the test scores were actually better last year when they were doing remote learning. The children's test scores were actually better last year. That's what they said. But they also said you can't hold the previous years against it. You can't really hold those test scores against the children, the ones who didn't do so well or what have you, because it was a stressful time. But that's just that. I just made that correlation to let you know they deal with statistics all the time in the education system. So how is it that you guys not do the statistics on all of these shootings going around the country? You have not paid attention to that? All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen. United States school shootings and firearm incidents from 1990 to the present. All right. The breakdown of regional gun violence in K through 12 schools is as follows. The Midwest had 63 incidents of gun violence, which resulted in 36 fatalities and 84 injuries. The deadliest incident, Red Lake High School Massacre on March 21st, 2005, where 16-year-old Jeffrey Wise killed 5 fellow students, 1 teacher, and a security guard before turning a gun on himself. Okay? That was in the Midwest. In the Northeast, 36 incidents of gun violence, which resulted in 50 fatalities and 41 injuries. Deadliest incident, Sandy Hook Elementary School, the massacre on December the 14th, 2012, where 20-year-old Adam Lanza killed 20 children and 6 adults before taking his own life. In the South, 138 incidents of gun violence, which resulted in 102 fatalities and 200 injuries. The deadliest incident, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School shooting on February 14, 2018, where a former student killed 17 people and wounded at least a dozen others before being arrested. And that's the Marjorie Stone Douglas High School. That is the Parkland shooting. They call it Parkland High School. It was in Parkland, Florida. Well, that's what this story is about right here. What I just read. That's what this book is about. And the father, Andrew Pollock, wrote about that. Okay, so in the West, you had 80 incidents of gun violence, which resulted in 71 fatalities and 166 injuries. The deadliest incident, the Columbine High School. Man, I just told y'all about that. The deadliest incident was the Columbine High School massacre on April the 20th, 1999, where 18-year-old Eric Harris and 17-year-old Dylan Klebold killed 12 students and one teacher before shooting and killing himself. Okay, so I just went around the country for you, right? Just that quick, from the Midwest, the Northeast, the South, and the West Coast. Okay, and that's what you have. And what did you hear when I read all of this? You heard about all the incidents that happened, right? And it led up to one big bang happening, where you have a bunch of students as casualties. So all of those incidents, and then you get one big one that just rocks the house, you know? So it's like, man, why aren't we doing? You could go to ball games, and the security is more tighter than you will ever find in any school across America. In any school, K through 12 across America, you can go to a ball game and you will get screened security. You will go to a security screening tougher than you would and going to a freaking high school, K through 12. And then that's a lot talk about the colleges, but I know that that's a difference, because I know how the campuses are spread out and kids are walking. I'm not giving no criminal no out about none of that. It's all wrong. All I'm saying is the college shootings, you had those things too. I understand, like, that's a little harder to secure, but when you have something controlled as a school, where everyone's coming to this one building, how can we not do all we can do? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. How can we not do all that we can do? Yeah, so there's, and what I read that off of is more I can go into, where they go through each region and really break down stuff. I'm not going to take y'all there, but this is Ballotpedia. That's why I went Ballotpedia, and that's where I got it. That's where I got the breakdown from the shootings around the country. And this has been happening since the early 90s, so you figuring, hey man, when are you going to learn? Okay, so it's like, okay, North Carolina, you had a chance to sit back and you seen all of this happening around the country. Why you couldn't put it in place? Why we not learning from others' mistakes? And I mean, what's so crazy to me is a lot of things that I talk about. It's like, aren't these the things that you teach in school about learning from mistakes and taking accountability, ownership, and just ethics, and being, isn't these some things that you learn in school? Certain things that they'll preach about in school. Plotting and planning and strategizing. It just comes back to all of that. Everything I talk about with the education system, nobody is plotting, planning, and strategizing anything. They waiting till things happen, and then when things happen and people are in the uproar and people are in a state of shock, then they want to come and then they want to play this game. What can we do now? We got to figure out a better way to do this. Come on, folks. You know the better way to do it. You know how to do it. Let's just stop the shenanigans, man. For God's sake. If we're not gonna protect these children, man, then who the heck are you gonna protect? If we can't protect the lives and the safety of these children, if a child can't go to school and freaking learn without worrying about getting a freaking bullet to the back of their fucking head, then what are we doing? What are we doing? What are you doing in the education system? What are you doing if you're at the top of the chain and you're making in the education system and you're the one pulling the strings. You're the governor, you're the mayor, you're the uh, 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 the board of education. What are you doing? If why that should never be. What do we do next? Now, granted, you can't stop everything, but starting somewhere and putting something in place, preparing. This is all of what you teach in school about being prepared, preparing, being on time for something, watching and paying attention, learning from your mistakes. So parents and students have to cry and suffer, and parents have to lose a child, and you guys come on and you sit there and then they all act as if, what do we do now? What do we do now? We have to figure out something. What do you mean? This is not like we're these. This is not like where like you have to really. It's a no-brainer. But you see, it's only a no-brainer when you truly care. See, these people play political games, and when I say political games, there's a lot of politics, and then it's all about how much money is it going to cost. It shouldn't. It should be endless. It should not be a question. Funding shouldn't be a question when you're talking about the security of the children. The security of the children. It should be no expense. At no expense. Like, you shouldn't have no problem. You should, hey, this is our security measure. This is how we set it up. This is how it's going to happen. This is what it's going to cost us. This is what we need to do. And I'm kind of confused as of all the money, especially from COVID that was handed down from the government to these states for education. It kind of baffles me that, like, what do you guys do? Like, I mean, everybody all the education systems, most of them ran for that money and everything and got that money handed down to them from their said state. I mean, this like nobody's not starting anywhere. You have to start somewhere to get somebody to see something. If you start doing something, then maybe the government can say, okay, well they're putting enough for this, then maybe we need to shell out a certain budget so we can get these schools, by X amount, by X date, we would have every school with these with the funding to have complete security. I'm totally confused about this whole, so me just stepping back and watching and listening to some of these press conferences after these shootings, it just left me with my head like, what do you mean? That what do we do? And I can understand, law enforcement, and you had law enforcement that really, heartbroken and everything from, seeing this here, they're heartbroken and touched by it and moved and everything. Because everyone can always step back, and one thing is, if you got a heart, man, you're gonna be touched by that. That's gonna strike a chord with you if you seeing children in panic mode and they don't know what to do. You know what I mean? And then that moment you realize, like, these are kids, man. These are kids, man. And if you got a heart, and if you're in law enforcement and you care about your community, that's going to touch you. And you're going to go and do and look for the perpetrator who's caused this. So once again, I say thank you to law enforcement from both sides, all the agencies, that were there, because I think, what if that was my child? I would want them to show up the same way, which I know they would, because it's their job, and that's what they're there for, and they take pride in policing and securing neighborhoods and communities, the good ones. They take pride in that badge. they have honor, and they love their job, and you know, and the real ones love the people. They're there for the people, and they know what their job is, and they know how important they are. So I say thank you to the law enforcement agencies that were there on hand, all agencies from the Winston-Salem with the Mount Tabor shooting, to Wilmington, North Carolina with the Hanover High School shooting. My hat goes off and thanks to you guys, you know, the men and women, the EMT, everyone that was there. Thank you, and my blessings and go out to the families in Wilmington, North Carolina. I didn't catch the young man's name that was injured there. I guess they were young, so they didn't tell the name. And the children, anyone, all that were affected by that shooting, all the students. I pray for your mental health. All the students from both high schools, I pray for you guys' mental health, the faculty and staff members as well. I pray for you all, your mental health. I pray that, you know, the families in the situation, you know, if you lost your child or not, that you find peace and comfort, as well as to the mother who lost her child, William Chavis Raynard Miller Jr. May the Most High welcome him, and may his spirit get peace in due time. May his mother, may the young man William Chavis Raynard Miller Jr., may his mother, may you find peace, ma'am. May the Most High give you strength, ma'am, you and your family at this time. And we have to do better. You know, I don't know how many times this has to happen. This has been happening all around the country, and there has to be some type of learning that comes of this. I don't know, like, why, like, people see things happening, and it's like, you don't think, you don't want it to happen to you. You don't want it, but you have to prepare yourself for certain things. When we talk about the school system and you see this thing happening and you can just see, it's like you looking out into the ocean. At some point, you're in the ocean. You're not at a lake. So, you know, at some point, you don't know when, but you know the waves are coming. You don't know when. But you know, if you know science, then you know if a good wind comes, the wind starts to change, the weather starts to change, the weather pattern, the wind pattern starts to change, and you know a wave could be coming then. But if you don't know that, you do know that you're looking out to the ocean. And if you don't know nothing else, you know that a wave is going to come. So you know that to prepare yourself, you're going to do what? You're not going to go so far out, because if it starts to come, you want to be able to have a good running start, right? Or you're just not going to go out there. You're just going to watch from afar, and you're just going to enjoy it. Enjoy the view. But anyhow, you prepare yourself, right or wrong. However, whatever way you took, you prepared yourself because you knew, so you prepared yourself, right? Even if you went out to the waves, even if you a surfer, you prepared yourself, you braced yourself, you know, and you were ready for it when it came. However you take on that, you prepared. So why can't we do this with the children? I know we have a lot of people in the education system, a lot of planners, right? So why aren't we doing that? Why are these elected officials? A lot of people play this game and throw this thing around. Education. We love education. We love the students. It's all about education. Well, why are we not protecting our future? Why are we not protecting our future, which is the children? Why are we not doing that? Why are we not taking the taxpayers' money and doing what's right with it? And not only that, when I think about North Carolina, I'm going to end it right here, ladies and gentlemen, but as many of you might thought too, I'm trying to figure out as well the education lottery. There's a lot of money being spent. Why we shouldn't have a problem there. Y'all use that lottery and use the education, tagged education onto it. But I noticed over the years how it kind of fizzled out. But you still was using, and you still use it when you see fit. Why are we not pulling money from that? If it's the education lottery, what part of the education, what part of that money is going in the education system? That's what I want to know. There's a lot of money being spent, There's a lot of money being spent. There's a lot of people been winning lately too, especially during the pandemic. A lot of people been steady winning and playing the lottery. What are we doing with that money? What are we doing with it? People winning big, you getting tax money off of it. You getting the tax money off of their wins, their earnings. What are we doing? Confused. I don't know. Somebody know better. You tell me. But I'm saying that we gotta plan and strategize, invest in these children. We gotta learn from previous. We have to learn from what happened to others. We can't say you don't do statistics. Education system is all about. They always doing statistics on things, on test scores, on the behaviors, on on this, on that. They're doing statistics on everything. So if you did statistics, then you should know. You've seen in the South how many shootings, gun violence happen in the schools in the South. Okay, let's go back to that. In the South, they had 138 incidents of gun violence, which resulted in 102 fatalities and 200 injuries. That was in the South, okay? So, the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School was one of the big, ones in 2018 that went national, okay? That was in Florida, all right? So now, North Carolina, you got 2 for 1 now. You got 2 for 1. And now it's blood on y'all hands now. Because y'all sacrificing these children and not putting security first. See, this is just years of kicking the can down the road, man. And I've said what I said. And I'm standing on that. Because I'm old enough to know. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of things, when a lot of these incidents happen in school, I was alive. I wasn't just born 20 years ago. So a lot of these incidents that's on this fact sheet here, this statistics right here, this timeline right here, I was alive. And I was old enough to comprehend and understand. I was a teenager when a lot of these, when some of the earlier ones in the early 90s, I was a teenager then. And so I've heard of those incidents. So all I'm saying is, when are these schools going to prepare themselves? When are these states going to get their shit together and stop the games with these children, with the education, with the safety of them, and just caring? Got students in classrooms with heater systems all out of date, sitting in hot classrooms and scorching heat, sometimes sitting in cold classrooms when it's dead winter. Then they have to worry about coming to school and being shot. Then you have to worry about, then they come and then they don't have the adequate technology for these children. Outdated. It used to be outdated books. Now your software may be a little outdated. Your programming. Come on, man. You gotta do better, man. People are paying taxes for this shit. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta do better, man. For real. If, you know. But I don't know. I'm your guy, Rashawn. I wanted to speak on this. I just had to take a moment and sit back and just try to do some analyzing and do my research and try to get understanding. And it's not still with the two shooters, the Mount Tabor high school student, Winston-Salem. There's not much information being told about the young man who, at this point, the young man who was the suspect. It's not much said about him, not even a name. I haven't caught a name. If you have caught a name, leave a note in the comments. The Wilmington, Hanover High School, there's not much, you know. The young man that was shot, was 15 years old there, had non-life threatening injuries. So, and thank God for that. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. Thank God for curbing that bullet, you know. But yeah, I'll end this off with just saying, man, and love on your children. Pay attention to your children. Because these people don't care in the education system. These people don't care. You know, stay up with your child. Stay up with your child. Pay attention to what they're doing. Take a moment as a parent and step back sometimes. And we know we got to hold down the house and work and do what we got to do. But sometimes step back for a moment and see what's up with your child and ask them how they doing, how they feeling, how things are going in school. Make that a daily thing when your child comes home. I do it every day with my child. How you doing? How did your day go? What did you learn today? How you feeling? Was anybody mean to you today? Like, talk to them. I've been doing that so long with my daughter ever since she entered kindergarten that it's common for her. And if I forget to say it, she come to me and she'll just automatically start telling me how her day was. And I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, I forgot to ask her. You know what I'm saying? We forget. We're adults. We got things going on. We got a lot of things going on in our mind. But if you start something with them, it becomes habit with your child, and they'll remind you. So that's all I'm saying. These these people don't care about our children. We have to, and somehow some of these folks in the education system seem to they have this attitude, some of them, as if they know you don't care. They think all the parents don't care, so they have this attitude, like, you know, they don't care, so so when you do confront them with issues concerning your child or the students, they looking at you like you're crazy. Like, I know there are people that tap into my videos and watch them, and I talk about the education system. They look at me like I'm crazy. No, I'm not crazy. I'm speaking a language that you know well, because if it was your child, you would feel the whole way. And you have to ask yourself, if it would you allow your child to sit under certain situations, as I speak of with your children? You know, you have to ask, if your child, would you allow your child to continue to attend the school system here in this county, knowing the behaviors and knowing that these folks don't care and they're just playing games? See, You playing games when you have board members that don't even go into the schools, but they sit in there representing something. How do you represent something that you know nothing about? You just know about the city and the area because you might have grew up here, but you don't know about every school that's in your. You haven't been in there. You haven't talked to them. You may talk to people in passing here or there, but how are you representing something that you know nothing about? Who does that? How are you representing the issues when you don't know what the issues are? When you're not tapping in. Man, I'm just here to shed some light on some things and bring some common sense in and get everybody out the tunnel vision. That's all. That's all. Like, you know, we can't just keep kicking the can down the road and every day we just coming in, a job is repetitious. You come into a job, you know what your job is. It's a job, you're doing the same thing every day. But you have to be innovative with it. You have to be creating other ways. You have to figure out other ways to do things as well that make sense. You can't keep coming back doing the same things, looking for different results. What do they call that? That's right, insanity. So that's my time, folks. Once again, it's Friday, September the 3rd. Once again, peace be with all the students around this country, around this state of North Carolina. Peace be with you, the students, faculty, and staff members. May the Most High touch these people who hold the key, who are the gatekeepers in the education system from K through 12 around this country. May the Most High touch these legislators and touch these people in politics, period. May he touch them and allow them to do what's right. May the Secretary of Education for the United States see this, take heed, and may they make things happen. We don't want teachers with guns. Teachers are educated. They need to educate comfortably. They need to be able to do their job comfortably, just like the students need to be able to learn comfortably. We need the ones who do the job, do their jobs. We need everybody to do their jobs. We need security so they can secure the schools and do their jobs. We need resource officers to do their job. You need to allow them to do their job. We need to get metal detectors in these schools, not just wands, metal detectors. Okay, we know them wands ain't the most accurate thing. We need good, up to date metal detectors, not used ones. You need modern metal detectors. Okay, we have to think about the safety of these kids. We can't sit back and keep being too conservative about this thing and worrying about the look of things. Why should we have? We gotta have it. It's going around the country. It's been going on since the early 90s. We gotta have it. It doesn't look like it's gonna get any better. It looks like it's just keep getting worse. It's habit now. Okay, school's been in for just 2 weeks here in North Carolina, and you got 2 shootings, and it hasn't even been the whole full 2 weeks yet, and you had 2 shootings. Come on, folks. So that's it for me today. I said I was going to talk to y'all last week in the last video, but I knew I had to get this together and present this to you guys. Peace and blessings to you all. Make sure you share this channel with a friend. Tell a friend, share it. You know how we do here, talk about a lot of different topics. It's an open forum. Thanks to all my subscribers, and if you're new to the page, you tapped in and you watching, welcome. Subscribe. It costs you nothing. I never ask anybody. Just ask anybody who's subscribed so far. I don't ask anybody for anything. I'm not asking for no money. I'm just here, each one teach one. I'm just sharing information. It costs you nothing. Just tap the subscribe, share it. Causes you nothing, you know. But that's it, folks. Peace and blessings. Hope you have a good weekend. this weekend, Labor Day weekend. I hope you guys enjoy it. Peace and blessings. I'm out.